Hey everybody! So before we dive into today's conversation, because there's a longer video that I want you to watch that's coming up real quick, I just wanted to share thank you guys so much. This has been the first month that I've been able to pay all of my bills from YouTube, which is wild. So thank you guys so much for rocking with me and for being a part of this community and for engaging and for reaching out. It really means a lot. So I just want to say a quick thank you. And now watch this video and then we'll talk.
99% of the time, these people on social media ain't gonna tell you the whole truth.
That last clip was a clip from RJ Hampton, and I know y'all have seen RJ Hampton and his baby mama Tiffany Jeffco all over TikTok the past 2 days. And while I don't agree with him, I do think that statement that he just made is very true, because no matter how much someone's a TikTok influencer, whatever, a celebrity, no one is completely telling the full story. And the whole situation with Tiffany Jeffco and RJ Hampton is a prime example of, like, you can't wish for somebody else's life because you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. The grass is almost never greener on the other side. Almost never. This is the nasty, ugly side that we don't see of dating an athlete. It gets very, very ugly. Behind all the bags and the trips and the get ready with me for game days, these girls are going through hell with these men. And these are not regular men. These are men with power. These are men with money. So take the things that a normal man does and multiply it by 100, because it exemplifies, it just multiplies when the man has money. Like, you could not pay me to mess with an athlete, knowing what these girls go through on a daily. To me, it's just not worth my sanity and my respect to deal with these people just to get a nice trip and just to get a couple bags and a certain lifestyle. I'm not willing to trade my dignity for that. And this goes to show the ugly side of, what's going on behind the cameras. Like, this man just admitted to physically assaulting this woman with zero hesitation. Like, he said, yeah, I did it, and what? Like, no one's gonna believe you. Like, oh my gosh, if he's saying it so candidly like that, I can't imagine how the extent to the things that were going on behind cameras and behind closed doors that we were just unaware of. Young girls, let this be a lesson to you when you sit up and you're like, oh, I wanna date a rapper. I wanna be a basketball wife, a football wife. They are going through hell, and behind all those smiles and, oh, we're at the game, we're in the suite, this is what's going on behind closed doors. And I don't really know if or how this even relates to this story, but I was on this other creator's page, and her name was Alicia. I'll tag her, but she was like, these men's preference is our protection as Black women. As Black women, we are always being torn down by really the world, and men love to go out their way to be like, oh, I don't date Black girls, I don't date dark skinned girls. And obviously I'm dark skinned too, so I've dealt with that as well, and I never take offense to it, because this is an example of how these men with preferences are treating their preference. That's not excusing anything, but it's that was a way, in my opinion, for God to say, this is a blessing in disguise. This man don't want you, but look how he's acting. It's just ugly. So to my fellow dark skinned women, it's let them men have a preference. Let them men not like you, because this is how they're treating their preference, someone that they actually do like. So imagine how he would do you. Don't ever beg nobody to mess with you. If someone is not attracted to you or doesn't like you and you're not feeling wanted, just change your audience. And that goes with anything. If you have a company, a brand, and it's not selling, you don't need to change your product. Maybe you just need to change the audience that you're putting your product in front of. And that goes with dating. If you don't feel appreciated where you're at, change your audience. Like I said, I don't know if that's relevant to this situation or how it even would be, but I thought that was a good point that she made. These are the men that are saying, I don't date. It's one thing to just be I prefer whatever, but they're normally saying something negative about dark skinned women or Black women as they go on to celebrate their preferences, and that's how they're being treated. So I just had to add that in there. But I went to Oklahoma. I went to the University of Oklahoma. And so there were a lot of athletes that went pro. And the girls that dated these athletes, I mean, almost all of them, when the relationship ended, went and dated a normal man and found so much happiness. Yeah, the man may not make as much money as the professional athlete, but you can see through their social media just like the increase, the overwhelmingly increase in happiness, and just how like their day to day, they just seem a lot better off. Like money is not everything, and this proves it. It's like, oh yeah, you're dating a man with money, but like look what else you're going through. I'm not willing to go through all that just because the man got some money. And maybe I'm different. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong, but it just like that video was just like so disgusting to me. And then on top of all of that, she has to deal with that man for the rest of her life, not just 18 years. Like legally, I guess they got to do each other for 18 years. But as long as their child is living, like they got to be at proms and birthday parties and graduations and stuff and deal with that man for the rest of her life because she was not more selective in who she had a kid with. Like that shit got to be so miserable. That has to be so miserable. Ladies, we have to pick better men because that man didn't just start acting like that out of nowhere. He been acting like that. He was acting like that before the baby came. Like we just choose to ignore signs, and we need to start leaving these men at the first sign of abuse, at the first sign of aggression, at the first sign of like disrespect, because he did not just start acting like that 2 days ago. He been acting like that, and he probably, I'll go on my way to say that he probably made no attempt to even hide that he acted like that ever.
The information about that creator will be linked below because I have so many thoughts. I thought I had thoughts before, but then I had to break out the handy dandy to include even more of my thoughts. Because my goodness, there are, well, you know what? Let me introduce myself and then let's dive in. Hi, for those of you who are new here, my name is Shayna. I'm a journalist. I talk a lot about decentering men and child-free living. If any of that sounds like a vibe, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm also currently living in Spain and I'm working on getting out more travel content. I promise. So, and if you're interested in, you know what? I'm going to talk about the freelance writing course at the end of this video because we got stuff to discuss. And I'm going to go in order of the way that the video that we just watched was oriented. So first, I'm going to talk about the realities of the mindset of dating men with money. And I'm going to talk about that from my own personal experience from when I was dating in New York. So first off, this is not a brag and this is not a flex. These are just facts and they're men. So I have dated 2 millionaires and the son of a billionaire who was and he was the oldest son. So there was a whole lot of that went along with that back when I was dating in New York. And I didn't realize, one, how much my neurodivergency protected me and allowed me to have fun and enjoy myself and get the benefits of being in relationships with these men and to get what I personally wanted out of my relationships with these men. And they just, well, not the son of the billionaire. That was just one date and it was a really fun date. And then he started talking and I said, I'm not having fun anymore. So I'm a go. And then I left. That's a story for another day. But looking back retrospectively on my experiences of dating men with money has really made me appreciate who I was back then and how I handled myself back then. So that way I wasn't so thrown by the glitz and the glamour and the who I was meeting and the where we were going because I'm not personally, I'm not big onto like handbags and like physical things that I can hold on to. And it's not even about showing money. I'm not into like physical gifts don't mean a whole lot to me. You give me an experience though, and I'm locked in. Oh my gosh, my dishwasher is open. You give me a second. So for example, it was my third date with this guy who shall remain nameless. It was our third date. It also happened to be my birthday. And when he rented out the back half of a steakhouse on the Lower West Side just for us for my birthday, and we had unlimited access to the sommelier for the entire night. That was lovely. Like that, when I talk about experiences, like that's what I'm talking about. Why am I bringing this up? Because as fun as the experiences that I got to, participate in were, and as lovely as those guys were for the time that we had together, I had to know and feel and believe that I love myself more than whatever is happening, than whatever feeling I'm experiencing. I have to know that I love myself more, so that way the moment that things are not fully aligning, so that way the moment I'm not enjoying myself anymore, the moment that I feel like, you know what, I could be more peaceful on my own. Sure, I might not like have the XYZs and the black cars and I might not have all of that, but I think I would think less about external things. I think that I would be more peaceful on my couch watching David Attenborough talk about these Norwegian dolphins than I would being in this space with a man for another few hours, minutes, days. You know what I mean? And I recognize that that's an easier thing to say here now. That's an easier concept for a lot of people to digest immediately. But in the moment, I recognize that it can be hard, especially when you didn't grow up with certain things. Listen, both of my parents are immigrants. I'm first generation. So and my parents are not from here. They're both from quote unquote third world countries. So there was a lot that I was not privy to experiencing before I became an adult, and even more so before I started dating certain men, which also leads me to my next thing that I was going to say for the end, but I'm going to say it right now. There are so many aspects of the life that you want. When the original creator was talking about the bags and the cars and the like lifestyle that people can become accustomed to, even with all of the stress that goes with it, a lot of people get drawn in to those lifestyles, to the get ready with me's and, oh, I want that. I want to experience that. There's so much of that you can actually do on your own. And no, I'm not just talking about going out and buying things and in the same way, in a less stressful way than these women are getting like the bags and the whatever for free because a man is giving to them, but like in exchange she is stressed indefinitely and losing years off of her life. You can get that from freelance writing, from content creation, there are a bunch of other ways to get this. And I will show you just a handful of examples from my own life so that way you could know that this is true for you. This was me less than a week ago, from the moment that I'm filming this, in South Africa on a fully paid for trip. Yes, flights, food, cocktails included, because I was writing about a cocktail festival that I will be including, that I'm submitting for Essence magazine literally tomorrow. So example one. I got to take my mom on an all expense paid trip to Mexico for her birthday after my stepdad, you know what, that's not my business to tell. Let's just say she left that buka. Praise him. This is a picture of me weeping in business class because I dared to watch Coco while I was in business class flying to and from Mexico and Istanbul. I 10 out of 10 don't recommend watching movies that'll make you sob uncontrollably when you are in the fancy side of, honestly, just on a plane in general. There's too many germs flying around. I have more pictures of places that I've been able to take my mom, my best friend, people that I care about, just me on my own. Like I have been, my passport is so booked and busy and overwhelmed at this point, and I'm not paying for it. Turn up. And I don't have a man to have to navigate to live the life that I want. And this is me saying this to you who I have not studied this. I'm just saying that there are ways for you to get the things that you want, and you don't have to associate yourself with a man and ramp up your cholesterol and cortisol levels to live the lifestyle that you want. Okay? Now yes, and if you are interested in starting your freelance writing journey, email me or DM me an email address so that way I can put you on my mailing list, because in January I'm going to be launching a How to Start Your Freelance Writing Journey masterclass, and I'm finalizing all the details for the month of December. So if you want to stay posted on all of that, I know I haven't sent out an official email yet. I have been sick, in case you can't quite hear it in the voice. But I'm working on getting all the details together now that I'm getting back and up and mobile and all of that. So if you're interested in that, send me your email address. That way I could put you on the mailing list. Great. Now for my last thought. That lady talked about rejection being God's protection. And listen, it doesn't really matter to me if you believe that there's somebody up there or not. I have a complicated relationship with the religion and all of that. Now, I do believe that my ancestors are out there and they got hands. And they're battling things that I cannot see for me. And I love them. And I love them. Praise them. So with that, rejection being God's protection, yes. And the concept of actively and intentionally seeking out spaces where you are not just loved, but your presence is treasured. That will make the game changer. That will be a game changer for you, and I hope that in the way that it was for me. Here's something that I personally have experienced that as it relates to men and like pushing them out of my focal and trying to figure out what community and like having a healthy relationship with my disdain for my heterosexuality like looks like. And that is finding spaces where I don't have to fight and struggle to be treasured, to be appreciated, to be given the things that I know I deserve and that other people also recognize that I deserve. And that could be physical things, but that could also be community. That could be intangibles. And that has been the game changer in my life. And that has lowered my stress to the point where my blood pressure is so low that sometimes I do just be passing out. There's like a running joke with me and my doctors, like, Shayna, maybe you could use a little bit more stress now that this is where you're at. And I go, no. If I fall, I fall, but I will fall gracefully. I have not fainted in public in a very long time. Ever? Nope. Once in high school. That's a different story. So those are my thoughts. Please let me know yours. Tippity type them away in the comment section, and I will talk to you guys later. Oh my gosh, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. There we go. All right. Bye, guys.